I didn't see you there. I was just reviewing some music for my new theme. Uh, I'll get back to that later. Since you're here and it's Saturday, I want to continue my tradition of reviewing two movies. Excuse me, and put my pipe down. It's good tobacco. Okay. So since you're here and have two movies, why not review them for you? Okay. The first movie that I'll be reviewing is a movie that came out earlier this year, actually, starring Halle Berry, Abigail Breslin, and Morris Chestnut. It's called The Call. Okay, this is about a veteran 911 operator played by Halle Berry, or Halle Berry, as people like to pronounce it. Okay, she takes a life-altering call from a teenage girl who's just been abducted, and then she basically trying to help the police find that young missing girl. Okay, and basically the young girl has like a burner phone that she took from her friend, and she's basically trying to talk the girl through to give descriptions and stuff, so the police can find her and rescue her from the kidnapper. Okay, the young girl was played by Abigail Breslin. She plays Casey Wilson, the kidnappee, I guess. And then you have Morris Chestnut as Officer Paul Phillips, like a boyfriend of Jordan Turner's character, Turner's boyfriend, which is played by Halle Berry. Okay, and you also have Michael Imperilio. He's there. He has like a kind of a minor role there. Okay, and like I said, basically this is a thriller, R-rated thriller, about 94 minutes. First of all, let me say I enjoyed this movie. I had a good amount of suspense. Okay, because like you see in the trailer for this, in the beginning of the movie, she answers a call when somebody's breaking into a house, and the young girl calls the 911 operator, and of course she tries to help the young girl get away, but she winds up hitting a redial, and basically the phone rings, and the intruder hears that, and he winds up basically kidnapping the young girl, and then this is a minor spoiler. The young girl winds up dead the next day. So of course, Halle Berry's character is devastated by that, of course, and she's skittish about coming back to being a 911 operator, but she eventually does, and she's they show her teaching other young recruits, and then she gets the phone call once this young girl has been kidnapped, played by Abigail Breslin. Casey Wilson, when she gets kidnapped from the mall, basically by the would-be kidnapper. Okay, and basically, she has the burner phone in her pocket, and she calls 911, while she's in the trunk of the car, and basically, Halle Berry's character tries to talk her through, trying to do certain things to get attention and describe where she is, so the police can rescue her before any harm can come to her. And it's a good thriller. It had a good amount of suspense and good back and forth between the 911 operator and Casey Wilson, played by Abigail Breslin, and I thought Abigail Breslin was really good in this too, as a scared young girl who's been kidnapped and doesn't know where her fate is, and she's basically fighting back any way she can. And it's a good thriller. Now the ending of this is kind of, I guess, the ending is not controversial. I don't think it is. I think the ending is just, I think, a little different. And I know a lot of people, some people had problems with the ending, but and I think the ending would kind of raise certain questions without giving it away. Okay, and but it's not stereotypical ending, I guess. Maybe I would have went another way, but it's still an entertaining movie. So I'm gonna definitely give this a 7 out of 10. Okay, certain things that happen, or certain things that Halle Berry's character of Jordan Turner does that probably wouldn't happen in real life, but it's an entertaining movie. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I thought Berry was good in it, and I thought Abigail Breslin was good. Morris Chestnut was like an officer. He's like, he gives minor support there. And Michael Imperilio, he plays like one of these. He has a small kind of role, and I don't want to spoil it exactly, but let's say he becomes involved in the whole kidnapping thing without giving it away, and also the actor who plays I guess the kidnapper, I guess his name is Michael Eklund. Okay, basically I guess you find out little things about him in the movie, but he actually, yeah, I think he did a pretty decent job. Okay, and they kind of explain it, they kind of hint around at his motivation for it. They don't really tell you blatantly what the reason is, but you can kind of pretty much guess what his motivation is for the kidnapping. Okay, so definitely a 7 out of 10. Definitely entertaining and definitely worth picking up. It's, okay, like I said, it's only 94 minutes, and it kind of moves, and has a decent pace and stuff, and the ending is, you know, a little different than the norm. So I definitely give it a 7 out of 10. Very entertaining. Okay, now the next movie is a movie that got recommended to me by a fellow YouTuber, RossiBoy19. He kept talking about this movie. He actually reviewed it on his channel. Okay, and I will leave the link to Rossi Boy's channel somewhere in here. So if you want to look at his review of this movie before you watch mine, you know, you can do that. Okay, American Mary came out last year. Okay, this is a horror thriller about basically a former medical student, Mary Mason, played by Catherine Isabelle from the Ginger Snaps movies. You recognize her from that. And in this movie, she's a medical student that she becomes. She's always medical student. She's always broke, and so she's always trying to basically stay one step ahead of the predators so she can stay in medical school and stuff, and become a doctor, which is what she wants to become. Okay, and let's say she has a professor that's kind of hard on her in her class, and she's basically trying to do the best that she can. Okay, and she has a nana or grandma that she calls from time to time to tell her who she tells a rosy picture of. She doesn't really let her know what's really happening to her, that she's basically just getting by. So one day she sees an ad in the I think in the paper about that you can make like $1,000 if you don't have to take your clothes off. I think that's the way they presented it in the thing. You don't have to get naked. I think that's the way. So she goes to a club. So of course naturally you think it's a strip club, of course. And the gentleman there that interviews her, he looks at her resume, sees that she's a former medical student, and he checks her body out and stuff, and then he tells her, okay, I'll give you $1,000 if you can basically fix this guy up. He has the guy in the back that's basically been beaten up. Okay, and she basically fixes him up, and she gets the $1,000, and then she goes home, and then she's it's a thrill. She made $1,000 that easy using her medical knowledge. Okay, so first she's kind of freaked out about it, but then she gets visited by another individual. Let's say this individual is named Beatrice Johnson. She's sort of an unusual girl. Okay, let's say she's a girl that's had a little bit of surgery on her. She says that she basically found out about her through Billy, who was just the guy that ran the club that she helped out and got the $1,000 for, and she tells her that she would like her to help her friend. She has a friend named Ruby Real Girl that wants her to perform surgery on her, and then she pay her I think $5,000 if she does some surgery on her. And this Ruby Real Girl wants this I guess you call it body modification done to her body. Okay, and of course at first Mary's kind of freaked out about this, but then she thinks about it, and then she actually does the surgery. And this Ruby Real Girl wants this body modification. She wants her body modified in an unusual way. That's it, without spoiling it. Okay, and then of course she takes the money and she does the surgery, and of course at the end of it she throws up. But then she said, "Oh well, this is great. Yeah, I'm making money, and I'm okay." And then she gets invited by her professor, one of her professors, that's one that's particularly hard on her, to come to a party, okay, with other doctors in the hospital, okay. And at this party, a certain event happens to her, okay. I don't want to, but after this event happens, she becomes a totally different person, okay. She basically becomes a lot more colder than she was before, and basically she she starts really getting into these body modification surgeries and stuff, and you can see her whole personality just sort of changes. And then Catherine Isabel is really good because she's really cold, and just you can see the flip switch in her after the events that take place at the party happens to her. You can see she totally flips the script, and she's totally different than she was before. And she basically gives up medical school and goes full on into this body modification thing. And of course, like I said, there's another character named Billy Barker, who's the guy in the club that hired her at first when she first came, looking, to make their $1,000, and he sort of has a crush on her, and she's basically, like I said, oblivious to it. She's, like I said, she totally turns into, like, her whole personality changes, and then they show her, treating certain clients and stuff. And this movie is surreal, and it's done by the Saska sisters, who actually play a part in this movie. They actually play twins in this movie that want to have their arms switch, surgically removed, and switch to each other, which is really weird. And you have a lot of, like I said, you have some other clients that do other modifications to their body, and she performs that. And of course, in the midst of this, there's a detective that's basically looking for one of Mary Mason's professors that's gone missing. And I don't want to spoil it by telling you exactly what happens to him, okay? But it's just surreal. Like I said, she totally turns her character, turns totally to her whole, she basically, I guess I want to say colder, or is that the word? Basically, she turns into basically an unfeeling thing. She's like, once that event happens to her at that party, she just totally flips the switch, and she goes full out into this body modification surgery and stuff, and she's a totally different person. And basically, this movie's about that. Like I said, Catherine Isabel, I thought, was really good. You can see her, like I said, in the beginning of her in the movie, she's her desperation to stay in medical school and make success, and then after the events of the party happen to her, she basically turns cold, and she basically embraces this body modification thing and really gets into it. Okay, and she's scary good at it, and scary. There's a scene that takes place in the club in the bathroom that's really particularly kind of freaky, and I don't want to. That's all I'm going to say about it. You have to see that scene because you're going to go, "Woo, she was really scary." I'm going to give it a. I'll give it a 7. Okay, it's unusual, but I'll give it a 7 because it's definitely watchable, but it's definitely unusual. Like I said, the ending is the only thing I kind of had a problem with. Okay, so I'll give it a 7. Okay, a 7 out of 10. Okay, and also The Call, which I watched and I thought was entertaining. I gave it a 7, I think I said before. And this ending was sort of different than the normal ending. So actually, I'm going to revise this. This American Mary, I'll give a 7. The Call, I'm going to give a 7.5. Okay, put it that way, because I thought this was just a little bit better and more entertaining and just different. And this was a different type of movie, but still entertaining nonetheless. And the ending was just I didn't like the way it ended. Let's put it that way. 7. I'll give it The Call a 7.5.